Jacob refused to allow any of his family to return to Egypt, particularly his son Benjamin. As far as Jacob knew, Benjamin was the only son he had left from Rachel, as he assumed Joseph was dead. Simeon was being held in Egypt by the Egyptian governor Joseph, or his Egyptian name, Zaphnath-Paneah. As sad as it may sound, Jacob was willing to sacrifice Simeon rather than risk losing Benjamin, which is not a position any person should ever be in. As learned in chapter 42, Jacob held his other sons responsible for that happened to Joseph and Simeon, and even for the potential loss of Benjamin. As time passes, the food runs out, so Jacob sends his sons back to buy more food. But the sons are unable to do so without Benjamin. At least, the sons cannot return and expect good results without Benjamin. Judah reminds Jacob of this fact, and we see here Judah starting to become a brave and honorable man, even getting collateral to Jacob. It does not take much reasoning to understand that without Benjamin, the mission will be impossible. And as we have learned in previous chapters about Jacob, he's stubborn. Even though he's favored and blessed, he's stubborn. And his stubborn ways keep him blaming the children for what has happened. He complains that they should not have told the governor there is another brother. It's a mystery to the brothers, to Jacob's sons, why the governor cares so much for their brother, but they know they cannot return without him. Obviously, the brothers did not think much about the questions, as they were in a very tough position. They were facing starvation, the entire world was. And they were at the mercy of the Egyptian official, so they were going to answer whatever they could. They had no reason to lie to Joseph about their family. Judah asks Jacob to trust him with this brother, the boy, or the lad as he labels him in other translations, in order that all of them might survive this famine. Judah was leading the charge to kill Joseph, but now he's taking charge to do what was right. Judah promises to take personal responsibility for Benjamin's safety, and he goes further and offers himself as a pledge of safety. This is not some half-hearted pledge, but a real commitment. Obviously, there has been time wasted because Jacob's refusal to allow his sons to go back to Egypt, so Judah's statement, "For except we had lingered, surely now we have returned the second time," is correct. If only they had left already, they would have been there. Jacob starts to realize that Benjamin must go with his brothers, and he wants to send gifts for the governor. "Take of the best fruits in the land in your vessels, and carry down the man a present, a little balm, and a little honey, spices, and myrrh, nuts, and almonds, and take double money in your hand, and the money that was brought again in the mouth of your sacks. Carry it again in your hand, peradventure it was an oversight. Take also your brother, and arise, go again unto the man." Jacob's instructions of taking double the money was to cover both the cost of the new grain and the money mysteriously returned to their sacks after buying grain on the previous trip. And the other items was a similar tactic used with Esau and their reunion, as Jacob was unsure how Esau felt. Jacob now sends the children off, but not before giving them over to God Almighty, by praying that God will give them mercy before the Egyptian governor, and that the man will send both Simeon and Benjamin back home with their other brothers. Jacob seems to accept whatever happens as God's will. It could be read in different ways, but knowing Jacob's character and the things he's done from the past, I believe he's saying that what happens, happens, and it's God's will. The brothers set out with the gifts, money, and Benjamin to head for Egypt. They stand before Joseph, and Joseph orders an animal to be killed in order for his brothers to eat. He knows they are hungry, and the trip was hard on them. After all, the world is in a famine. When he sees his brothers, he realizes they have done as he instructed them. And more importantly, he sees not just the 9 brothers, but Benjamin as well. We do not know how much catching up with Simeon he's done, I assume quite a bit. But now, he has the opportunity to do so much more. All of the brothers are allowed into the home just as Joseph had ordered. But the brothers were afraid because they're thinking they were going to be punished based on what happened with the money. They do their best to clear up the matter before they are attacked and forced into slavery, but this would have been irony as Joseph was sold into slavery. And now, they are fearful of being made slaves. In part, they explain, and other money have we brought down in our hands to buy food. We cannot tell who put our money in our sacks. They insist that they do not know who put the money back in their packs. The brothers are very surprised to the response of Joseph. Peace be to you, fear not, your God. And the God of your father hath given you treasure in your sacks. I had your money. He brings out Simeon. They get up the gifts and await the meal that they are to eat at noon. They give him the gifts and bow before him. Joseph asks them simple questions that probably did not make the brothers think. After all, some of these questions are referred to as interest, or even small talk. Is your father well, the old man of whom ye spoke? Is he yet alive? The brothers not knowing Joseph, he was asking how was his dad. Joseph had been away for nearly 30 years at this point, so the question meant a lot to him. When he learns about Jacob being well, he turns to Benjamin and inquires about him. All of this becomes too much for Joseph, so he has to excuse himself into another room where weeps, he cries, because it's been over 2 decades since he saw Benjamin. Benjamin was the only brother not involved in the selling of Joseph into slavery. It was a custom during this period of time that Egyptians not eat with Hebrews. And while Joseph was a Hebrew, he had also been acclimated into Egyptian society. And he was also hiding his identity from his brothers, so he kept with the custom, and did not eat with his brothers. This may also have something to do with Joseph's status as a governor. But the verse reads the Egyptians did not eat with the Hebrews. We are told that the brothers were seated according to their birth order. And they were amazed by this, which, understandably so, as the steward had no way of knowing this fact. All of the brothers were served food, but Benjamin received so much more in regards to portions. Despite Benjamin getting so much more, the brothers do not seem to mind as they become merry in their surroundings. And this is where chapter 43 ends, a scene of brotherly love with food and relaxation.